Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's GentooMan here, also known as Rainy. The amount of times that I have tried to make my first video of 2025 and then just not finished it because I didn't like the idea is a lot. Because we're over 2 weeks into the new year. Happy New Year, everyone, by the way, if you're watching this. So yeah, it's been a minute. It's been almost a month since I made my last video. Hell of a good commitment to continuing to make videos, I would say, definitely. So yeah, we're back at it, and I just got a good classic story time for you guys today. Something I just remembered, something I was just talking to a buddy of mine about. So I'm gonna hop right into it. Hope you guys enjoy, and welcome back. Happy New Year. Now, this story time takes place back when I was 14 years old. I was in the 9th grade. So, I was still a little bit younger. This is one of those younger GentooMan stories, younger Rainy stories. But yeah, around this time, I've mentioned this before in a couple videos, but I was a fucking nerd in junior high school. This was my last year of junior high, and I was in the school band. So, the school band, we did something every year that was just called band camp. And basically, it was a trip for all the band kids where you'd, go on, a little school trip somewhere else. You'd, stay in a hotel for a couple days. You'd do some band stuff. You'd play a couple concerts here and there. You'd do some band practice. But also, you'd just, do stuff wherever it is you were going. So, the previous years, I had gone on a band camp in the 7th grade and the 8th grade. And I always went with a friend of mine. For the sake of this video, I'm going to call him Nick. Nick is still a good buddy of mine to this day. We don't talk all that much, but he's still a good friend of mine. And he and I were, the duo in just band class in general. We were that duo, we were kind of shitheads, guys. That's kind of how I'm gonna put it here. We weren't exactly the most well-behaved people. We were kind of getting into mischief, getting into trouble here and there, but we had fun. We still do. Now, two of my other friends in the band class, I'm going to call them Tom and Rob. Tom and I were fairly close for most of junior high school. We haven't talked in a while, though. He and I don't really have contact anymore. But he and I were we were in the same rooms. We decided to room together during the first two band camps, and then Rob, I believe I called the other guy, he was in our room in the second band camp in the 8th grade, and they both decided that they didn't want to room with us this time, because in 8th grade when we went on our band camp, this is another story for another time, but I guess I'll give the quick details here. Basically, me and Nick, we stayed up all night watching shows and building a fort in our room and shit. We were just it was hard to sleep when you were sharing a room with us. So they kind of opted to not do that this time, which was understandable. So the day finally came, and we pull up to school with all our stuff. We hop on this big bus, and this was right after the Smash Ultimate came out. So Nick had it on his Switch. So he brought his Switch, a ton of Joy-Cons, had it set up. We kind of spent the entire bus ride just playing Smash and stuff. It was cool, because we just have a bunch of people that were sitting near us who would see that we're playing it and be like, yo, can I do a round? And then people would switch seats. Fun fact, actually, the first round of this, my current girlfriend, the girlfriend that I am dating as of right now and have been for a while, she was one of those people who played with us. But that I guess it doesn't really pertain to the story too much. I just think it's kind of funny. She and I didn't even really know each other at the time, but she played around to Smash with us. So this trip was off to a great start. I was just sitting playing games with the homie, and it was great. Everything was going great. We eventually got to the spot where we were staying. It was this hotel in this small-ish town out in the forest kind of. It's kind of hard to describe. So my room was me, Nick, and my friend, our other friend, who we're going to call him Seth. Now, the three of us in a room together was just chaos waiting to happen. It was lovely. And so the way the hotel worked is when we got there, we all got our stuff. We took it up to our rooms. We made sure everyone in our rooms had a room key. They separated it by floors, so the girls were on one floor and the guys were on another floor, typical school trip stuff. They kind of have to do that. So yeah, me and my friends were just getting situated in our room, getting everything set up. There's a TV in the room, so we set up the Switch to the TV, and it was dope. I don't remember us doing too much that had to do with actual band stuff on the first day. So yeah, I don't really have anything to say about that. I do remember that evening though, we I guess I'll talk about the dinner situation first. So for eating, we obviously didn't eat in our rooms. We didn't go out to a restaurant every time we ate. We went to a couple of restaurants here and there, but for the most part, our food was served in this hotel. They had this dining room, and we'd always go there for breakfast. Lunch we usually ate out because we were doing stuff. We'd go there for breakfast and we'd go there for dinner. So we went for dinner, And I think we had like lasagna for dinner, and it was some bomb ass lasagna, you guys. It was a really good fucking lasagna that this hotel made. And honestly, the dining room setup was pretty sick, because you have these big tables and you could just kind of sit with whoever, and it was like a good like socializing point. You kind of just eat with a bunch of people, and it was just really chill, and I enjoyed it. And while we were eating, we were obviously fucking munching. I probably had like 4 servings of that lasagna. Before you get mad at me for that, there was a fuck ton of it. And we spent this time kind of basically asking people around us, because we were trying to get together a Smash tournament. So we asked a bunch of people, and we got a bunch of people to basically come to our room and do like a Smash Bros tournament, and it was pretty sick. That's exactly what happened. We had people coming by because we had like free time after dinner, so the people who we had spoken to came to our room and they played Smash Bros with us, and we had a whole tournament. It was great. So obviously our Smash tournament ran kind of late because we had a lot of people there, and of course like bedtime or the lights out on a school trip usually isn't very late. I think it was like 9 p.m. and we ate dinner at like probably like 7 or something like that, maybe a little bit earlier. So by the time everyone was done, our tournament was over. It was like lights out time. So everyone had to go back to their own rooms. The people like the band teacher and everyone, the rest of the teachers running the trip would kind of check in on us and kind of just make sure that everyone's where they need to be. And basically that everyone's like quote unquote going to bed. I mean, like no one was. Like there was no way that me and my friends were going to bed for like hours, but it's kind of just what they have to check. So this happens, everyone goes back to where they need to be, and it's kind of just me and my friends chilling in the room. And we're all a little tired at this point. We're kind of just like hanging around, talking, not doing anything too crazy. And then I come to a realization probably about an hour later that I don't know where my phone is. And like I start to panic a little bit because I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I was supposed to text my mom when I like got here safely. And I never did that, which is like the whole reason why I even like had a phone at that point in time. So I start panicking, and this is like an hour later, and at this point, like my friends had fallen asleep. Like everyone was asleep. It was kind of just me chilling there, and because everyone had fallen asleep, I wanted to like, kind of scroll through my phone, but I couldn't find it. So I started thinking about where it might have gone, and I eventually come to the realization that I'm pretty sure I left it on a table in the dining room. So I have to pull like a covert ops mission here, right? So basically what I do is I'm not supposed to leave my room at night. And I didn't think anyone was going to like find me and find out, but I was like 14 years old, and I'm kind of like, oh, I don't want to like get caught. I don't want them to call my mom or whatever it may be. So I like put on a hoodie, because I'm just wearing my pajamas at this point. I just throw on like my black hoodie, my default outfit, and off I go. I make sure I have a room key, and I start like basically sneaking down the hallway to see if I can even get into this like cafeteria, little like dining room area. So after not too long, I end up making it to the dining area, and like the door is open, so I'm easily able to get in. I go to the table I was at, and luckily for me, it wasn't like stolen, it wasn't missing, it wasn't nothing. Right where I was sitting, I found my phone. So that was going to be that, and I was just going to turn around, go to my room with my phone, and I was going to have a quiet night. But before I could do that, I heard a little bit of like giggling and laughing coming from like the side where the actual kitchen is. So naturally, I decided to investigate. I slowly walk over, and I see 3 of my classmates in there. It was these 2 dudes and this one girl that I knew that was in the band class. The dudes, I'm going to call them Steve and Billy, and the girl, what are we going to call her? We will call her Sydney. So it was Steve, Billy, and Sydney. And now I'm not going to lie, Steve and Billy were not my favorite people. They never have been. But I saw them all there kind of giggling. I kind of startled them a bit when I showed up. They're like, oh, fuck, okay. Hey, what's up, Randy? And I'm like, hey, what's up, you guys? I left my phone in here. I was just coming to grab it. What are you guys up to? And they all kind of look at each other, and like they kind of giggle, and then they look at me, and they hold up this whipped cream can, and they're like, just a little bit of this. And for those of you who don't know what that is, they're doing whippets, which is effectively galaxy gas. So yeah, they were doing that, and they're like, oh, like you want to join us? And now I didn't really, like I said, I didn't really like these 2 guys, but I did kind of like Sydney. She and I had spoken a lot in the band class, so I did kind of like her, and she was the one who asked me if I wanted to join them. So I said sure against my better judgment. And without getting into too many details here, I did do a good couple of whippets with these guys. I would highly not recommend that any of you do that. I wouldn't recommend that or Galaxy Gas or whatever. I wouldn't. Don't do it. Just, okay, that's my quick little disclaimer. I'm sorry. I'm like a fucking dad judging you, but like I wouldn't recommend that. Anyways, as junior high kids do, we kind of just started playing Truth or Dare, and everyone was like afraid to say dare. Like, you know how that is? Like, I've played so many games of Truth or Dares, and I mean, hell, I'm even guilty for this. It's just like, you know, people ask like, oh, Truth or Dare, and like you don't want to do a dare because you don't know what they're gonna ask you to do. So it's just always truth, like always truth. And the game's kind of boring because every single person is picking truth. I did that, like I said. I got asked when was the first time I ever saw boobs. And I told them, and if you guys want to know, it was when my dad took me to see Blade Runner 2049, which is a good-ass movie that I still love to this day dearly. But yeah, that was the first time that happened. So, you know, we get to the point where, like, everyone's just asking each other, like, truth questions. And they just get, like, stupider and stupider because, like, at this point, everything's funny. But eventually, it's Sydney's turn, and she makes the unlikely move of picking Dare. And no, it wasn't me who asked her. It was one of the other guys. Don't remember exactly who it was, if I'm being honest with you. But yeah, she said Dare. She said Dare for whatever reason. And this guy dared her to do 7 minutes in heaven with one of the guys in the circle. Now, I've never like officially played 7 minutes in heaven, but I'm pretty sure it's just like, I'm pretty sure in the actual game you like spin a bottle and whoever it lands on you like go like make out with in a closet for like 7 minutes. I don't actually know. I'm not that cool. But I remember he asked this, like this was his dare, and the other guy, like again, I don't remember who did what, but the other guy was like, dude, like that's a little crazy, don't you think? But Sydney was like, no, like I'll do it. And they're like, whoa, and they kind of shut the fuck up because they're like, oh, like who's she gonna pick? And she ended up picking me, which I didn't expect, and I don't think she would have had the whipped cream can not been involved or whatever it may have been. She ended up picking me. So, you know, obviously the other two get like super rowdy and they're doing like the ooh and stuff like that, and it's just, you know, it just is what it is. And I'm awkward as fuck, dude. Like I always have been. Like I'm sure you can tell even me recording these videos. I'm an awkward human being. So this was not a situation that I was like accustomed to. I still to this day with a girl that I am dating don't know how to react in situations where like girls like me. So I was super awkward, basically just like walking into this like closet. There was actually not a closet, fun fact. We walked into like the pantry of this kitchen, and we just kind of were chilling in there, and it was dark because it was nighttime. So we're sitting in this dark fucking pantry, and Sydney's kind of just like giggling to herself, and I can hear the other two like kind of just laughing on the outside. And I'm just super awkward, so I just tell her like, hey, I don't really like know what to do here, do you? And she's like, oh, like kinda. And she kind of looks at me and she's like, you know, your Blade Runner story is kind of funny, but like I think I can give you a better story that you can use as your first time. And like I'm sure you guys can imagine what she did next, but I'm not going to get into too many details there because frankly I don't feel like it. And I can still hear the other two just kind of laughing out in the kitchen. But as this is happening, I hear like a loud voice, not from the other two that are in the kitchen. I just kind of hear a loud, is someone in here? And after that, I hear like a loud like panic and movement from the other two, the guys sitting outside of the pantry, and they must have left because like I just hear like almost like a running sound, like they were trying to quiet run, and I could hear the loud voice being like, "Hey, is someone here? Like who's here?" As they like supposedly ran off. I don't know exactly where they went, but they definitely ran off somewhere. And then we hear the voice getting closer and coming into the kitchen. So naturally, we just kind of froze in place, just kind of like, what the fuck? We just froze in this pantry because I didn't think whoever this was going to check the pantry for us. I never ended up like seeing who this was, but I'm pretty sure it was the band teacher. He came in and he said like hello, is someone here? Like who's here? And we didn't move. We didn't move at all. We didn't say anything. And then we ended up hearing him leave the kitchen. So once he left the kitchen, me and Sydney made a mad dash like out of the pantry, and we were just kind of like, hey, we got to go back to our rooms. Like we got to go right now. And she's like, I don't want to go alone. Like, I'm scared. Like, what happens if we get caught? And I'm just like, okay, I'll take you back to your room and everything's going to be fine. Because, you know, I'm just a fucking nice guy like that, I guess. I kind of hate that I said that. I didn't say that. Don't worry about it. So we investigate the hallways outside of the dining area as best we can. And we go to her room. And we go really, like, quickly, but as stealthily as we can, like, checking every corner, like, listening and trying to be as quiet as possible because we do not want to get caught. But we make it. We make it without getting caught by anyone. We make it back to her room. She goes in. She says goodnight. And I'm just kind of like, okay, we're in the clear. She's back in her room. So I just kind of walk casually. And I don't take any precautions at all. Which was a stupid fucking idea because I rounded like the first corner and I run smack into my band teacher. And he's like, "Hey, Rainey, like what are you doing here? Like this is the girls' floor." And like he says that to himself, and as he says it, he kind of gets more mad because he just explained the situation to himself. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing up here? Like this is the girls' floor. Like you can't be here." And I'm just kind of like stumbling over my words. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like I left my phone in the dining area, and like I didn't know where it was, and then I heard that Sydney she picked it up for me, so I came to get it from her. And he's like, "I don't believe you. I don't think that's what you're doing up here. Like I don't believe you. I'm gonna have to confirm that story." And I'm like, well, like you can like go like get her, like you can go knock on her door. And he's like, I'm not gonna do that. It's the middle of the night. I'm not gonna go knocking on their door. I'm gonna confirm with her tomorrow, and this better be true. Otherwise, you are in big trouble. And I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, like no worries, everything's gonna be fine. That's what happened. He's like, just go back to your room, go to bed. And so I did. I went back to my room, and I had my phone to scroll now, so that was good. Fast forward though to the next day. We go into the dining room again for breakfast, and I see the band teacher kind of, call over Sydney, talk to her for a bit, and then just kind of send her on her way. And then as I go up to get my seconds, because I eat a lot of fucking food sometimes, he kind of pulls me aside, and he's like, hey, I talked to Sydney. She confirmed your story. She said she's just giving you your phone, so you're good. But if I catch you in the girls' floor again, if I catch you near a girls' room, like, it's going to be a problem. Like, I'm going to call your mom, and you're probably going to get suspended. Like, it's going to be a big thing, so just don't do it, okay? I'm like, okay, you got it. I'm sorry. He's like, yeah, okay. No, enjoy your breakfast. Go sit down. And that was pretty much that. So, yeah, that was fun. Shout out Sydney for having my back, because she could have very easily just been like, no, that's not what happened, and I would have been fucked. So, thanks, Sydney. Appreciate it. Yeah, guys, that's pretty much the story time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That's probably the first of, like, a lot. I don't actually remember if I've told a Bandcamp story yet on this channel. I know I haven't told this one. I might have told a Bandcamp story. I'd have to go back and look, but if you guys enjoyed this one, there was a lot of pretty good stories from band camps. They were always a wild time, so I've got some good stories from them if you guys would like to hear them. Also, I don't know if you guys could tell, but I said this is the first video of 2025, and for Christmas, my good friend got me a mic, and I'm recording this with said mic. So yeah, I hope the audio quality is good. I also got my PC setup going, so the quality of the videos should ideally improve. I've got some Marvel Rivals gameplay on this, been loving that game, been playing it now that my PC is set up. And just now that I have my PC set up, I really want to keep going with YouTube. I know I say that all the time, I know I do, and it's very possible that after I post this, I don't post again for like a fucking month and a half. But I really want to keep doing these. I have some different videos coming soon, like about movies and shit. Like I have some rankings and whatnot, but story times will continue because I love making them. I love making them for you guys. And yeah, I got some cool stuff on the way if I ever get to it. I hope I do, but for those of you who've stuck around, thank you for sticking around. If this is your first video of mine that you're seeing, welcome. Hope you stick around, but I also hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you all so much for watching. As I've said, I love you all so much. Thank you for making this channel what it is today, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Later.